In a job interview, it's a two-way street. You are there to be interviewed for a potential job, but you are also there to learn more about the company and whether or not you would be a good fit for the job and the organization. To make your life a lot easier, I would highly recommend putting in the time to research the organization that you're going to be interviewing with. What is their mission statement? What are they most known for? What interests you about working for them, other than for a paycheck? To get this information, I would recommend perusing employer websites, using LinkedIn, and we have a separate workshop on how to make the most of LinkedIn, so check that out, or other sites such as Glassdoor, and perhaps talking with people who work for the organization to get their take on what it's like to work there, and if it's going to be worth having an interview with them. By doing this research ahead of time, you'll be able to familiarize yourself with the company, decide which questions to ask in an interview so that you can make a good impression, and figure out what to evaluate to decide whether or not this would be a good match for you. The other thing I would recommend doing is starting your research early. You'll be more likely to remember key points to mention in the interview if you give yourself the time to prepare for it as much as possible. To give you some more structure, here are 3 questions that you'll want to try to answer either before or during the interview. What does this job involve? You can probably answer this question for the most part before you can get to the interview by doing your research. Do my skills, interests, and values match? Based on what you've been finding in your research and in the actual interview, you should be able to make that determination in the interview. There are areas that you'll want to consider. For example, leadership. Who's in charge and what is their leadership style? Coworkers. Who will I be working with each day? Values and beliefs. What does the company stand for? The fun factor. How do they bond as a team? And then the wow factor. What's the most impressive thing about the company's mission? So for example, Facebook is one of the most popular social media sites in the world. Keep in mind that no company is perfect, but if in the big picture you can see yourself working there, then you can go into the interview enthusiastic and prepared. The neat part about doing this research is that you will bring in a cheat sheet to the interview. This will impress the interviewer and will show that you've done your homework. The bottom line is that you want to help the company either make money, save money, or look good. Looking at the interview from that perspective may help you to focus on what you need to convince the hiring manager that you're the best candidate for the job. You can approach this by providing the interviewer evidence of your success through things that they can grasp. How many, how much, how long, or you can share vignettes or story examples. How long did you work at a place? How many people did you supervise? How much did you increase the profit? One word or one sentence answers will not get you very far because it doesn't give the interviewer a big enough picture of who you are and what you've done. Examples are very important. Be memorable. They'll remember stories. In my experience in interviewing candidates, I know that's true because I can tell you that out of the dozens of candidates I've interviewed, I've made more of a connection with the candidates that told stories than the ones who just rattled off facts left and right. Everyone can be different, but if you can establish a rapport with the interviewer, it makes all the difference, and stories are how you can get there.